Sometimes you got to be early.
I guess, eh? Yeah, this makes up for exactly 1 out of the 600 times we've started 4 minutes late. So that's fun. So yeah, we got Mars, Utah here. I think what we should do, Jimmy, as evidenced by the fact that you're just walking away, is shut up and let Mars talk.
Right.
There was a comment. I don't know if you're seeing the comments here, Mars. I'll throw it up there. This was like a half an hour ago. Lisa popped into the channel in waiting, or the stream in waiting on YouTube, and said, it's like you read my mind. I was wondering how it's going with them. So you've already got fans hanging out, just waiting on your every word.
All right, perfect. Let me open that up so we can see that. But yeah, it's exciting times. Really coming into the actual development of the comics. We have kind of 2 parts going on. For those that aren't familiar with how we did it with going into Metaforce, we have the main line of books, Metaforce, and this Alien Worlds one will be officially Galaxy Jumper, an Alien Worlds adventure.
Cool.
And then we also have what kind of started as our promo line of books. It's a little cooler than that, I feel like, but it's kind of category it slides into, called Lore Stories. And that's, kind of in the vein of Marvel Presents, or, those type of comics that the traditional companies do. And so launching on Monday, we'll have Lore Stories featuring Galaxy Jumper. And that is a full comic, but it's more of a long form write-up telling the backstories of the characters and kind of a little file card imagery with their picture. And so it's more of an introduction to the characters before we drop actual issue 1 is kind of the vehicle that we use Lore Stories for. So we did that with Metaforce as well. So you kind of get about 500-600 words of write-up of character backstory, more long form, with some pictures, and then that'll set the stage for us rolling right into the main book of Galaxy Jumper.
Awesome. Lots
How
going
long?
on.
Yeah, how long was it since you guys released your packs? It was a little less than a year ago, right?
Yeah, it was actually a little over a year ago. So May 1st was the Metaforce collectibles drop for the actual cards. It was May 1st last year. And if you remember, we, Recurrier and I, basically, mostly Recurrier, I guess, we're a couple of psychopaths when we designed a lot of the stuff around Metaforce 1. So those packs and the Metafusion contract actually locked May 1st. So any packs left on the market, and don't buy those in hopes of opening them. So the supply is what the supply is, and no more packs will be opened. With those, the champions, we call our superheroes, were only able to be created through the Metafusion, which was a blend of the actual Citizen, the Essence, which is our version of the magic that makes it happen, and then their altar. So those contracts closed on May 1st too. So no more blending of champions, no more opening of packs, and yeah, it seems crazy that was over a year ago.
That's
Right, yeah.
Man, there's been a few of those recently, right? I mean, like, we went down to that first floor in the Tuttle Tower, in our team tower, right? Like, where I just carved out a little basement thing right at the ground floor, and right at the bottom, it's like March 26th was the first huddle we had, like the first Uplift team meeting that we had. Yeah, like the second that had gone by a year, like we're still kind of in the midst of working on getting the company in our hands so we can move it over to a DAO and stuff. So it was all kind of fraught and stressful or whatever. And now it's just like, yeah, we had a year. That first year was fucked up and intense and amazing, and now, like, just buckle up. Things are gonna get crazy. I'm so glad that you guys are still here and building, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like that, like, the projects that we've become really good friends with that are going to be around 2, 3, 4 years. Like, I think that's where the real alpha is going to come in this space, is that ability to be kind of have some longevity.
Yeah, I'd say it definitely hasn't been an easy year since then. I'll say the summer into the fall was really great. But yeah, we persevered, and we've never stopped working. We have a ton of fun, in the background too. We got guys like Left House and his brother Emmett who are with us, and those guys are just talented on so many levels. Left House is getting ready to release, I think, his 8th feature film that he's made called Rabbit Hole. That's a little crypto centric, so hopefully you guys will get that one over to you guys to see.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I like
Emmett's our
he
sound
did
guy. So
he did an event not so long ago, and like I had actually never been over to check out his build before. Man, he could build too. Like that was a cool build that he put up in the uplift as well. So
yeah, he's got a lot going on. It's kind of a family affair over there. So his brother Emmett co-hosts the NFT Action News, and he's also a music producer who's worked with a lot of big time hip hop guys out of Chicago. And actually, Emmett's son Scormellian, who's a Ethereum artist on the rise, has a lot of cool pieces. He actually did a collab with Miss Teen Crypto a while back. But he does a lot of the building in the uplift world. I knew he built the crazy sword looking thing that they made.
So
I didn't know that. Yeah. We were wondering.
So you're saying Left House's son is doing does he have a collection on Ethereum?
So this is his nephew, so his brother's son.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, it's Scormellian is his name.
Okay. I need to talk to them. I'm gonna message them right now. Thank you.
Yeah. He's I think he's 15 still. He's putting out some killer stuff. I've collected a few of his pieces, and yeah, like I said, I forget the specifics, but sometime in the fall he did a collab with Miss Teen Crypto as well. That's cool. But yeah, all that and saying, we have quite the team, a diverse, array of people who are good at the technical stuff and like to entertain and have fun. So there's been some challenges and a bump in the road with one of our main artists who's a personal friend of mine, so we won't get too into that. But yeah, we've recalibrated and are back to the grindstone here, so real excited. We should be dropping Galaxy Jumper 1 and Metaforce 2 in pretty quick succession here in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited, to go back to what Corey said. It's always nice to see, thinking about a year in the space, right? Like there's a lot of projects that aren't here anymore. And a lot of projects that are porting and doing new things. And so, I mean, you guys have obviously, created your network through various, brands that you're working on or people. And it's always quite interesting to hear about that, right? So I'm curious, what's the high point in the last year? So I kind of want to focus on that today.
Yeah, I hear you. A lot of low points lately, Jimmy. So
it's part of building in the space, right? Like, and I think Corey has a point. In 5 years, we're gonna look back on this and we're gonna laugh at the fact that we were stressed out about it because it's gonna be a completely different ecosystem, right?
I was like, how many positive posts have you guys? Sorry, Marsh, go ahead.
Oh. No, go ahead, Corey. Sorry, I was just
gonna say, the there's a little bit of a bounce. Actually, Jimmy, on Twitter yesterday, I called the bottom for wax, and told everyone don't fucking trade on my guesses. It was just like a long-term trend line thing, not like super science or anything like that. And it literally within like 0.1%, bounced off that, and that's no prediction of what could come. There's like a non-zero probability that was the bottom, but there's also a non-zero probability it's fucking not. So just play the long game and stop listening to fucking assholes who think they can fucking call the market at a short-term basis, because they're always gonna be wrong 51% of the time. Anyway, so the mood on Twitter is just completely different. This goes back to what Sean and you were talking about on your show yesterday, Jimmy, where just how quickly the sentiment goes from abject holy shit depression to oh, wag me, motherfuckers. It's just stop. Just and I as a recovering trader myself, I that my whole first cycle through crypto, I was day trading like a lunatic, and it just didn't do any better than if I just held. It was just basically giving myself all sorts of stress and some highs, right? You can get addicted to the gambling part about it.
Yeah, it's definitely the same hook as gambling.
Yeah, 100%.
It's crazy. Even we get hung up on stuff that we shouldn't, right? I didn't publish any articles today because I was walking around thinking about trying not to think, right? Because that's what we need to do sometimes, right? Like it's really insane, right? Like the story that we tell ourselves in this space is interesting to me, right? And like Mars, maybe you can equate with this, right? Because like you're a writer as well, but writers tend to view the world a little bit differently, and I don't know why that is. And maybe not all writers view the world the same way, but they definitely view the world differently from non-writers, right? And I think what it is we're so used to creating our own stories that sometimes even in our life we get locked into our own story in our head and we can't get out. Right? Like we're particular. I think we're particularly sensitive to to falling into our own narrative and getting trapped with the blinders on, right? Whereas other people might actually be able to, break through that. Our brains are trained, in my personal humble opinion, at least mine is, in a very different way, right? And so when those two things cross, like on a creative level, it's great. But when they impact you in your life and you get stuck in that writer, mindset in life, you're completely screwed, right? Like, I don't know, maybe that's just me, but
yeah. I see where you're going for. I actually doubled down on that probably in the last year. So, yeah, I won't get too personal, but basically in the last year, I bought a house out in the woods, just bailed out of day-to-day society, basically. Got married, and I'm about to have a kid as well.
Nice, congrats.
So there's a lot of things doing in the brain. But yeah, I mean, like you said, as a writer, I kind of get a little, I guess, philosophical, maybe, if that's a correct word. But, I definitely do live in my own little world and in my own head, especially now that I, work with a lot of cool people, but I usually just see them on a screen. So, I live, like I said, I live pretty much out in the wilderness. I have some deer wander through the yard. I had to return my neighbor's pig the other day that escaped and was running around in the backyard while I was writing.
Awesome.
So I take about 4 miles a day. I head out by myself into the woods, and that's kind of, where I do my writing and my best thinking. And for someone like me who's, I like to be an entertainer, but I'm also an introvert. So it's an odd pairing, so I don't always get my real thoughts out well in my personal life. So when I go into that kind of internal vortex and I'm allowed to speak without having someone want to say what they're thinking before you're done talking, and that fun thing that some people have with conversations, so it allows me to kind of get into that weird space. And I do feel cut off sometimes, but also it's when the best stuff seems to blossom. So it's an odd space.
A couple things, like I just had a vision of NFT, comic NFT Terra Mike pop into my head when you said you had to return a pig. I found this horse in the uplift the other day. Must belong to somebody.
It does sound like a very uplift
great.
story. I remember
that
the good old days when it first started and Corey was teaching a courier how to play, and there was some kind of massive cow fiasco.
Right. Well, and like the freaking Anders llama situation just never gets old. Guy got stuck on a llama for a real long time. It's kind of iconic. Yeah, it's funny too. We were showing the guys from Skull Club over in Solana, the uplift. We're showing them the world maps, and they took a look at Genesis. They're like, wait, like just on the world map, right? Like the 3D world map. It's like, man, this is all like in your platform. I'm like, dude, this is one map of 8. And we went over to Uplift, and like I hadn't looked at the 3D map for Uplift in a while, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" It's just completely incredible. And it's I think a huge part of it is we've got the economy going on now, right? So you can go in there and be mining or creating materials or whatever, and people can just go in and grab them at scale with not very much Upliftium, and can start building really incredible things. It's working, I guess, is what I'm saying, and I'm constantly grateful and kind of proud of us all for getting to this point.
Yeah, no, that stuff's always awesome, no matter what the project is, and you see the result and the growth of the people enjoying it and taking to it, and it kind of taking on a life of its own. That's always when I feel the most proud of anything that I've created. you know, and it's yeah, I was kind of taking stock. Actually, today is a holiday for me because I'm a weirdo. So I have a special relationship with the number 13, and today is Friday the 13th. So
Right.
this is a Mars
Dude,
holiday.
I didn't
today.
even realize that until this millisecond.
Yeah,
I
it's a Mars
13th.
Mars holiday, and also my 2-year wax anniversary.
Oh shit. Oh man, I gotta find out, Jimmy, when I actually got onto wax. I don't think it was until like later in the year, like maybe September, October. So
Yeah,
like you got me beat by a chunk.
I opened my
Yeah.
OG wax wallet, and it was May 13th of 2020. So, and that right there is just a quick sum up of why 13 is my number. It chooses me. Like I didn't mean to make my wallet on May 13th 2 years ago, but lots of my milestones just end up having 13s in them for some reason.
I like it. Yeah, I don't know how long it's been for me, but it hasn't been that long. Like, but I like it's funny. Like I always remember like a good friend of mine, Big Mike. He's got his own proxy and stuff over on the Wax blockchain. Like I remember like when he got in, and it was like nobody even really knew about it. It was that long ago, right? Like that early. And so I'm always thinking about, how many damn coins there are out there, and how many projects there are out there. And I always wonder like where the balance that will actually settle on will be, right? Like 90% or more are probably not going to be around in a year, but there's probably going to be 200% more that are around, right? And so when do we get to that point, right? Like my foundations in crypto have been kind of shaken recently this year. There's a lot about the space that I don't like, that I'm having to come to terms with dealing with, because I think a lot of it is just a big giant lie. And the only thing that keeps me here and keeps me going is to be able to work with teams like the Uplift, or to meet teams like you guys, and see what changes for progress. People like Nifty Blocks, for example, who are sponsoring our season 6, which is awesome. So definitely go and check out what's going on over there. And they're going to be coming on our show next Tuesday for a shop talk with Nifty Blocks. So shout out to Nifty Blocks. But yeah, the people like Nifty Blocks who are changing the space for the better for people, for artists, right? And so, I mean, can you imagine, Mars, where you would be? Like all the shit that you went through, the low points that you went through. Could you imagine where you would be without NFTs, right? Like, would you be in the middle of, the forest, which is kind of where I want to be, with, deer crossing by you every once in a while? Or would you be stuck in a 9-to-5 job? Now, like sometimes actually, like it's funny because like I'm going to probably end up back in Canada in the near future. And I almost want to get a job at a coffee shop just 2 days a week, right? Just so like I can have that connection with like real world people.
Just to hang out with the normies.
Right. And like just to get back to that baseline of reality, right? Like I've lived in Japan for 20 years, and like I can kind of communicate, but like my communication is like, what I want to communicate about, it's not actually how Japanese people think, right? And I mean, like, I think the same could be said about, a country bumpkin from Illinois if he were to move to like South Central LA, right? Like we don't really communicate with people the way that we used to, right? And I just kind of want to connect, because like what Corey and I are doing in this space with our team and the Uplift is we're creating this really unique group of people who are coming in here and sharing their experiences in crypto with everyone else in the metaverse, right? And as wide of a variety range as that is, we're still in our little shelter here, right? And we want to be able to take like the metaverse to the outside world, right? Like I want to be able to see like the Metaforce comic line in a real life comic book store, right? Like where you can buy like a card and you can scan, a QR code, and then you get that, NFT, right? Like I think that's where I'd like to see this be, rather than just being this like kind of niche cliche little thing that like the rest of the world isn't paying attention to, right? And like, I've got some weird ideas. Everyone knows that, but I think that's where the power of it is, right? The power where like I mean, when we grew up reading comic books, you couldn't get them, you know, if you were in certain places of the world, right? They don't exist there, right? Like, you know, it's like that whole Van Gogh story, right? Like, so my favorite paintings by Van Gogh are actually his Japanese line of paintings. And they're a little bit distorted and a little bit weird. But the reason that they're like that is Japan was a closed country. Nobody could get in. And the only reason anyone had any concept of Japan at the time was because one of their few exports were pottery. And they used to wrap their pottery in old newspapers. And then they would ship them out of the country. And these old newspapers had images of those wooden, you know, pieces of art. And that influenced the world to have this understanding and belief of that, right? And so, like, for me, it's really interesting when we can go from a world that we grew up in where, like, we remember getting dial-up internet, but you couldn't use it if the person down the road was, like, on their phone because you only had one phone line for every 5 houses, right? and reading those comic books and doing that stuff to being in a world where we can get and support artists from all across the world, right? And so for me, I kind of went on a bit of a rant here. That's what I want to see this space turn into, right? And, like, honestly, if anyone who thinks that, like, I'm in this space, or probably Corey too, anyone who thinks that we're here for the money, like, dude, like, we're not. Like, we're here to build the communities. Most of the people that we know, like you guys, are here for that too, right? Like, money is nice, but, like, we get our asses kicked day in and day out trying to build these projects, right? Like, just get hammered, right?
My earnings per hour, I don't want to figure out.
Especially never compare earnings to per hour now to the way it was like 9 months ago.
or yeah. Right.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Jimmy. You know, it's an interesting relationship. You know, I came from the traditional world of you know, entertaining and things like that. Yeah. And you know, the way I got into, you know, NFTs and the metaverse and everything is because, you know, like a lot of people, you know, basically we all got locked in our houses, you know, and I was, you know, I was in the rat race at that point. I kind of given up on the dream a little bit. You know, I was a musician, am a musician, you know, spent about 10 years, you know, touring and chasing the dream and playing big shows, you know, had a chance to headline CBGBs before they closed down and some crazy milestones. But then, you know, I find myself trying to grow up, you know, entering the rat race, sitting at home, trying to have as much fun as I can in my spare time, you know, and then COVID hits. And I find this entire playground to express myself on, you know, and that's the core reason of why I'm here. You know, obviously, everybody wants to be able to make a living, and making a living at your passion and being an artist and sharing stories with the world, you know, and creating these awesome projects, you know, is the dream. So, you know, the money has to come. But yeah, this if it's not fun, I'm not doing it, has really kind of always been my motto. And I hope to one day see VR more, or like NFTs more like AR instead of VR, you know, where they supplement a layer to actual life instead of taking over for actual life.
Yeah, like that yeah, right, where you see in the movies where people are walking around with the glasses that, like, just project something onto the life that's there, as opposed to, you know, just ending up somewhere. Now, that said, I mean, that might put us out of business, but like,
Yeah.
but actually, that said,
literally, but, you know, these things that add to real life, you know, you see a lot of these PFPs and things, and, you know, not that any of them are perfect, but, you know, you get these perks that apply to real life, you know, like I mean, Top Shots, Cool Cats, and, you know, they're sending people to actual games, and, you know, I like to see the things that point you towards leading life as well.
It's funny, you know, way back in the day when we first started that, like, right, when I first went online, right, for the wax people. You remember how we had that conversation, Corey, where we were just going to shut it down one day a week, like, kick everyone out?
I do remember that. That was adorable of us.
It was really fun. I don't know, like, how to say this that sounded like a giant douche, but like, I'm not sure where I would be without COVID, and I'm not sure where the uplift would be without COVID, right? Like, this caused the world a lot of pain. It messed a lot of people up, but there were certain people who it gave a wake-up call in a different way, and I was one of them. Right? I was lucky enough to be in a job at the time that I could actually, do from home consistently for almost 2 years. A lot of people weren't that lucky, right? If you owned a restaurant or you owned a small business and you had to be there, it caused a lot of heartbreak, right? And horror. But like for me, it was kind of a wake-up call because that job actually became a little bit easier because I didn't have to do the same thing 3 times or 4 times in one day because, I'm a professor, right? And a lot of those classes are the same. So I only had to do it once and I had to do it online. And then, it cut a lot of my work in half, essentially, which gave me time to be able to come in here and mess around. I was already kind of a little bit, in the crypto space in here and writing, but like it gave me time to come in and mess around with Corey, right? Like I got to hang out with this dude who I met randomly on the internet. I don't know, maybe he's a weirdo. I didn't even know. And like,
I mean, the jury's still out on that. I'm pretty sure something like that.
Do this show once a week that we had called EOS Weekly, right? And we would just come on here and we would try to talk about all the news in EOS.io, and we would fail miserably every single time because there was so much going on. And he's just out. He's like, hey, I'm out of here. Screw you guys.
Like, screw this bromance circle jerk shit. Like, I'm out of here.
What happened?
Oh man. So I'm just sorry for typing in the background, guys. Actually, just there's Mars right there. I'm typing at
sorry guys.
No worries, man. I'm typing in the background at Yoshi. Yoshi got a bakery in New York to start taking wax as payment.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm just sending him an invite link to get Yoshi on the show because, regardless of all of the family drama, Yoshi's a fucking rock star.
He is. And he's one of our favorite people. Yeah.
No, you're good.
No, I was just saying, like, I'm wondering, like, so I'm always curious, right? Like, because, like, is that the impetus for you moving to the country, basically, like being able to get out of the city? What was it that you realized, when the world was kind of shut down, that's where you excelled, that's where you wanted to be, or was it something completely different?
A little bit, it's kind of a bunch of things coming together in life, but yeah, kind of the world, COVID did really the exact same thing for me. It gave me the time to realign with my passions, and turn them from hobbies back into passions, because right. I had time, from that 9-to-5 grind and more than that. And I was working in a world that I didn't really enjoy too much. And let's just say the political climate of the last few years made it hellish as opposed to occasionally unbearable. So I was really looking to just run away anyway. So it all, like you said, COVID was a terrible experience for a lot of people. Personally, it gave me the time to realign my entire life. And I function better out here. I find, the day-to-day of living in cities and right on top of other people. I like to get out, especially when I write. I just feel way more space to have my own thoughts, I feel like, when I'm out here away from hearing traffic and people yelling outside your window or, whatever it might be. That just I like to have a quieter mind nowadays, I guess. And the quieting of the world through COVID too, the forced with that, it's kind of made me realize that. But that's one of my favorite things really about the world in general. Maybe that's a little broad, but with the way we've gone to like streaming entertainment, and I find myself taking in only what I want to take in anymore over the last few years, as opposed to just being bombarded by the world and content and things that seems to try to make you a little more negative. And so I kind of took all those thoughts in and tried to move into a healthy cocoon. This was spurred along. I'm personal friends with Bonds.
Yeah.
Our ladies are tight, so we have to be friends whether we want to or not.
He's a tough guy to be a friend with right now. I mean, he's going off the
No,
wall.
dude,
I feel bad for him, but like,
yeah, seriously,
he's one of the toughest people I know, and I would love to know him in real life because like I've had personal conversations with him, right? I've worked on projects with him, and he is really one of the nicest people out there. But he takes such a hammering for some things that he just loses it, right?
And like, he's passionate about a lot of this stuff, right? And like we all are, right? Like this is sort of the way of the thing. And like something every season, every crypto cycle is gonna fucking faceplant hard. Many things, right?
Yeah.
And it was just not unreasonable to be excited about what was going on in Terra. It's just not, right?
Oh yeah, it was even beyond Terra, right? Like
or whether it's our planet. I mean, like BluDAC, we had a fun start, but it's been super challenging, right? And it's like this shit's fucking not easy. If you're building stuff that isn't just like super simple, we're fucking putting ourselves out there in a big way. And he's kind of out there on the leading edge of that. And yeah, I totally feel for him because people can be just unbelievably fucking stupid and not want to take responsibility for their own shit, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
that's
rule
exactly
number one in this space. You can take whatever information in you want to take in and take in the excitement that we all feel for projects that we all feel excited about. But like, do your own research isn't a fucking made up tagline, right? You have to take responsibility for your own shit. Because if you come back at anyone and start complaining, you're just going to look like a fucking child.
I'm really good at doing that. This is why I have to go for long walks by myself because, like, I over take responsibility for it. But well, yeah, like
we have to, right? I mean, I think it's it's the other side of what we get to do in this space, right? What we get to do in this space is we don't have granddaddy SEC coming in to protect us, which really means only rich people will ever be able to make money. Period. That's what that protection costs, right? So we have the ability to come into this market and experiment and doing all these, amazing things. But the cost of it is that we have to fucking own it. And we have to grow up as investors and realize that a lot of these things fail and just spread it out accordingly, right? I mean, this is what, like, if you talk to any startup investor, in Silicon Valley or whatever, they're flat out going to tell you, if you're not in 50, you're a fucking idiot because 49 of them are going to fail, right? But that one can go unicorn and change your life, right? It's just like understanding that. We all have to own that, whether investing $1 or $10,000. It's just that's the cost of doing business in this way.
Yeah. So I took a little bloodbath there, so I've had some woosah moments.
I did too, right? Like
I hear you.
This has kind of taught me though too. It's interesting. Like I don't know how other people are feeling, but like Corey and I've been here, for a couple cycles now, and like I realized this one. I kind of realized that because I took a bloodbath before that. It was even worse. I got my account got blacklisted and some tokens got locked in my wallet that I couldn't get out. And then this other thing happened all on the same blockchain. And I realized that I'm actually not that bad. I'm okay at not losing money. I'm just flipping horrible at capitalizing on it, right? And that's the worst thing in crypto, right? Like I was on a call with somebody else who's another friend of Bonds's. And, we were talking. He was in the Terra ecosystem quite early. And he's like, yeah, I had a conversation with Bonds the other day. And like, he's a little bit, he's a little bit depressed, but he's okay, right? Like it's good. And what I told him was like, we need to start getting on a call like once a week or once a month and have like a group roundtable where we just force each other to sell shit. Like, it was to be like a take profit call, right? Because like what Corey said, that unicorn thing, right? Nobody expected this to happen. And when it did happen, a lot of people expected that there would be like, time enough to do it, right? But network circumstances. And I mean, I don't know. Everyone took a bath. It's crazy because like, we don't know what it's going to look like next week. The network's probably dead. It's been offline for like basically 24 hours, but like people in this space don't learn lessons, which is really sad. Right. And I hope that everyone who did, have troubles with that, they did just learn something, right? Like seriously, get out there, feed the deer, take a walk and think about what you could have done better. Don't dwell on it. Right. My mate said, now I just kind of got to go back to work. Now I got to go start doing what I do best and trading, because I was getting lazy. And people get really lazy in a bull market, right? And I mean, Corey and I we went through this as well, right? Like, it's like, this isn't easy to bootstrap the Uplift, to go out and talk to 100 new Ethereum communities and get them interested in having a gallery here or an embassy here, right? But this is what we fucking do best, right? Like, same with you guys, right? Like, it's not dealing with FUD. It's like, you're a writer, right? You guys created comics. You created these really cool tokenomics designs where you shut people out after a year and you told them about it, in order to cap the supply, which is like kind of ingenious. You were the first people I knew that did that anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, I have kind of a different take on it. By no means am I a trader, really, or would I say that I'm, a crypto person, really? I mean, obviously I work in it, but really I'm here to create art, and that earns me crypto. I've kind of come from a different vein where I'm really am strictly here to create and put things out to people and express myself. And yeah, like you said there, with being a writer, I took some stock kind of coming up on a year of Metaforce the other day with my wife, just kind of thinking big picture, because as we all know, in the metaverse, like, time is even more of a construct than ever. So like the last year seems like 100 years in a minute, so I kind of did a little inventory, and over about the last year between, Metaforce and, I'm also in charge of all the creative stuff with Green Rabbit still. We've got, I think, 58 original characters that I've made up in the last year, and over 20,000 words of creative fiction that goes along with those characters.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's intense, man.
And so, like, that's the farthest thing from crypto trading. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I acquire my bags.
It's such a better way, right? The whole idea that we can build, especially like now. I mean, it's inarguable that we're in the crypto winter now, right? And hopefully this is the bottom. Maybe it's not, right? It might be like 3 months from now. Who knows, right? We'll see, and we'll get through it, right? Like, now is just the time to basically start. If you are still trading, I'd highly recommend dollar cost averaging again. Like, and you're gonna want to wait 3 to 5 years. Don't try and time anything, because just too many people lose too much money that way. Again, just my humble opinion, not financial advice, caveat, bloody fucking blah, blah, blah. But now we get to, in this space, accumulate like crazy by building, right? Start an NFT line, start doing missions in the Uplift, create content like crazy. Because I think that's where the real rubber hits the road. Like, you're creating actual value. And people are loving it and have since the very beginning, and it's a great way to earn the bags and then sit on them for a little bit and see that 10x over the next couple of years.
Yeah, the market volatility is tough, but yeah, as you said, that's not really at all why I'm here. It's obviously it's part of it, but yeah, at the core of it, we're making content, we're putting out comic books. The Legendary has voiceovers. We've been lucky enough. We had James Duval do one of the voices. We have Mark Boone Jr. Do one of the voices. So we have legitimate actors in there that we're working with, and it's just super exciting. That's what it's about, is building these communities. Having fun with what we're actually producing. And obviously we want to make sure that gives value to the collectors, but personally, I don't want people buying my stuff just because they want to make money on it.
Right.
I don't want that business, to be totally fair. That's how I am. I only buy things I like. The play to earn aspect on everything, I'm kind of a little over it. Obviously we all want to earn at the end of the day, but how about just wanting to play also? It's not quite so catchy, but I'm trying to come up with something, along the lines.
No, we were talking about we were talking about this too, right? Because a lot of the play to earns are just clicking a button, right? And it's like, I'm not interested in clicking a button. Like, I don't, that doesn't speak to me. Now, I do sit on a train sometimes and watch people moving their hand back and forth over a, smartphone and playing Candy Crush or something like that, and they seem to enjoy it. That's not for me either. Right? But I think like that type of play to earn, I'm not interested in. And we, had an internal, discussion about, play to earn or, earn while you play, and the dynamics. And Corey kind of said the other day that like it's the same damn thing. It doesn't matter, right? But it's like we define this play to earn in the crypto space in a weird sort of way, right? And what happens when we actually get to the mainstream, where people can actually earn and keep and have control over their assets? I think that's where things start to get interesting for me, right? Like where games will be able to release an NFT of something that was earned in the game, and people can actually utilize that NFT to get real world value, whether it's in fiat or whether it's in crypto. That would potentially allow them like an upgrade, right? And in a way, that's kind of like what happens in the uplift, really, right? Like people get upliftium and other things, but people get upliftium, which is our in-game currency. And then they can use that to put up picture installs or to put in portals or to, do really cool things in the world. And you can't do that with games that are out there at Walmart that you buy and plug into your PlayStation, right? Like if you want the upgrade, you have to go and spend more money. And so that's what excites me about it. It's not necessarily the fact that these games are going to make you rich. Although like Corey probably remembers, there were people back in the old Proton days that were like making daily wages off of playing that silly little solitaire game, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was sort of the first thing that clicked into me. I was like, what? It's crazy. And then, I mean, Axie Infinity comes out and goes, oh, I mean, this is serious, right? And they, again, like everything, every one of these things, the hype cycle is different. And I think there's just a lot more obviously utility than like a hype cycle in Doge, right? Because we've seen that a million times as well. It's just pure speculation, but we see that in these games, right? Like you have the sort of attention to play to income arc, and it self reinforces as excitement is going up and there's lots more people getting into the space and right? And that's a really fun, really great cycle. And we saw the same kind of thing, at the beginning with us, but at the end of the day, we're in a forest of shiny things, right? And it's so easy to go to the next shiny thing, and then things are gonna lag, right? Like you're not gonna be the thing where tons of people are coming in, and then you have to find out where your system is gonna balance out. And I love the fact that like we've done that, right? Like that's something that we have achieved over the last few months, and now we kind of get to go into the next cycle. Right. I mean, that's like the coolest thing about NFTs is that they're not on the Bitcoin cycle. Right. We're on our own. And I think each project is actually on its own. So we can go out and do the work to actually build up some more momentum and run to the next possible high. And then we'll have to probably, create some balance again. Right. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, those as we move into this world of actual playable, non-clicking NFT games, it's getting really excited. I know, just going back to Green Rabbit quick, we're super excited there with the 3D hub that's opened up. I don't know if you guys took a look at that, but it's an actual 3D social space where you can run around, which blows my mind because this is an entire world that I created from my fiction that you can now log in and run around as the characters. There's in-game chat, so you can talk to each other while you're in there.
That's awesome.
The Ultra Anima races, which is like a crazy version of Ninja Warrior that you run through 5 at a time, is actually up racing, so you can compete with your friends through that 5 at a time through obstacles and things like that. And but yeah, in there's crates of loot for the 2D game that fall from the sky, and tomorrow is going to be launching the portal to be able to move the assets you earn in game back out to the Wax blockchain. So they're not on the blockchain in the Unity side of things. So it's moving towards that. But yeah, for me, just we're getting to the point of like running around in these 3D worlds that were in my head is kind of mind blowing, and it's just super fun to get in there and actually play with people in the community. And I just look like you guys have had that going on for a really long time, and there's not, on a dork level, it's just super fun to log into a game on your own and run around like, oh, hey, there's whoever. How you doing?
Right? Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing, right? And then, and especially, you having built, and we haven't checked that yet. We should have like you and maybe Venom on and have a show on a little update on Green Rabbit. I know that you guys are
live demo.
Right.
Yeah,
right. We'll hop in there the whole thing.
Your feelings are on the 2D side. The 3D side is super fun. It's a full-blown world. Like I said, you can run around with. There's free crates falling from the sky every 5 seconds with loot for the 2D game in it. And then you can queue up and take part in the races. And it is totally free to try out. You can just go to the launcher and log in without a Wax wallet and just run around. You won't be able to get rewards or anything, but there's zero risk to just giving it a whirl.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that too, because it has the potential to bring people in, right? Like, sometimes, honestly, like, it baffles me, but like, it's super easy to get a Waxlad wallet, right? Or a Wombat wallet. Like, it's free and it's easy, but like, even people who are in crypto, they're like, oh no, this is too difficult, right? It's like, it's a social login for freak's sakes, right? Like, you don't have to go through the process of, I don't play around in ETH very much. These days, just, there's not really that much there that like interests me, other than like a little bit of art here and there. But like, it freaks me out every time I do, because like, I kind of almost forgot how to use it, because it's that complicated, right? It's not really that difficult right? It's not really that difficult to forget how to use how to use a Waxlad wallet, or hook up an Anchor wallet or something like that too. So I don't know. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how these things play and network together, right? Like,
yeah, that's kind of our focus on that side, and kind of across the board, is just reaching out, to that mainstream community, and whether it's gamers or collectors, kind of trying to reach past that stigma that's been created by the mainstream around NFTs just purely being some kind of only about value. Try to see people to just get into it to have a good time also, and hopefully you get some value out of it, but actually provide entertainment as well. I think in the beginning everyone was focused on getting value back out of it a little too much, and I think now, especially with the recent turn of events, hopefully maybe we can shift back towards things being more centered on fun first.
Well, I mean, the bear is when people build. The bear is when, like, the hardcore people stay here and create, right? And the sad thing is most people don't get in during a bear. They get in during a bull, and a few of them hang around, and that's kind of when they become hooked, right? But a lot of people get in. I've lost my fair share of stuff, but I'd like to think that I balance out more. Now, could I make a livable wage in the crypto space? Maybe, right? But it's not easy, right? Like, it's no different than working for a real world startup, right? I mean, you're at the grind 24 hours a day. I mean, it definitely takes its toll. But what I think is, most important is that a lot of people in the mainstream, they're freaked out about it. But if we can convince, people through like your art or our game, that this space is a place that people can come and enjoy and play and support things that they like. And a lot of the people who are working in this space, they're not in here because like they got rich. They're in here because they're trying to build something that actually makes the world a better place, right? And or they found a way to do what they want to do, and it just makes more sense. And I think that's the case with a lot of artists as well, right? Like, I mean, yeah, there's some great money to be made if you happen to, you know, hit it rich. But there's also a lot of projects out there that are creating art that like they're probably making a little bit more than they would in the real world, but it's just that they own their own rights to it, right? They don't have to worry about getting it in a gallery or in a bookstore, for example, right? Like, I mean, I spent a year driving around in my car, sleeping on friends' couches because I wrote a book of poetry and prose, and I ended up, you know, like sitting on the floor selling it outside university campuses and stuff, right? Like I self-bound it, self-published it, right? Like I think I got a few into a bookstore at one point, but like it's not an easy game to play out there in the real world, right? And so here, this kind of lets anyone play, right? Like I don't know what your successes were in the real world with your art, but it kind of allows you to go out there and do your own thing. Like you, what were you saying? Like I forget now how many words, but it was incredible, right? Like 100. So it was set 106 characters. Did you say?
Yeah, it's about 58 characters, and yeah, well over 20,000 words of fiction so far.
So 58 characters you've created, and they're sitting there, like, right, all kind of tied to this space, which is pretty impressive. I mean, could you do that if you were trying to hold down a real world job, you know, working for the man, and get that out there into the world beyond the NFT space? Probably not, right?
Yeah.
Right. It allows us that.
Yeah. Now, luckily, just about a year ago, I got to bail out of the real world, so it's freed me up. Because yeah, it was one of those things where it was like go to the normal job, and it's like being in detention, just waiting to get out to do what you really want to do. You know, before that, I was, you know, your classic struggling musician. So yeah, I mean, this definitely takes away the need to get into a van with a bunch of smelly guys and drive to obscure towns to get exposure. You know, now we have the metaverse.
That was like my first plan when I arrived in Florida, was to get into a van with, you know, a smelly guy and drive south to Miami Beach. Corey was going to take me.
Lots of good stories in the tour van, though.
Right?
So, yeah, we'll take them.
Corey was totally going to take me. What kind of van do you drive, Corey? I want to know. It better be something nice. Better have like souped up wheels on the bottom.
My van?
Of your van, yeah. The one that you're going to pick me up in at the airport.
The one. Okay. Pick up a van. Okay, got it. I mean, since this is an imaginary, kind of what I want to do is get like one of those crazy 70s wrapped painted vans, but like have Mars do the outside of it in like total
airbrush it up
insanity. Yeah. Shag carpets on the inside because obviously, and yeah, we'll just kind of, you know, get some sexy lighting in there, and this is getting weird. Okay, it'll be a van.
No, like that, but like you got a great point. Like that cover image of this video would be phenomenal on the side of a van, right? Like that would be like awesome. I mean, that Metaforce Comics image with all the five of you just standing there with the monster in the background on the side of a van, like driving around Miami, like that would be huge. People would love that. They'd be like, "What the hell is that? What's going on?" You know, like I think it was like Netflix's new miniseries or something, right? Like all over it. I love it. So,
I like it.
Yeah. So anything else like that you want to shout out? I mean, I'm glad that you came today. I always love hanging out with you. It's great. It's great that you kind of, as you said in the DMs, out of hibernation again. You know, you're back in the mix. So please come back anytime. But like, is there anything else that you want to shout out that we might have glazed over?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I should just get into the Metaforce and the Galaxy Jumper details a little more on a genuine shill basis, which I'm terrible at. But yeah, we have a lot of cool things. You know, if you haven't been into Metaforce for a while, we have launched CMX token, which is our comics token. Right now, it's just represented by an NFT, but it will eventually be also tradable on Alcor and things like that. But on Nifty, if you go to our blends page, there's a ton of ways to get started there. You can take the Series 1 promos, the stickers that we have of the characters. There's a ton of different blends, so you can start from our promos and blend up to get a 1 CMX token. And the actual tokens are really cool, 3D spinning. Each denomination has a different Metaforce champion on them. And then you can combine those with, we have token press NFTs. So you will need a token press to create your tokens. And you essentially can use that scale to blend and trade your way up to higher denominations. And along the way, you'll be able to purchase lore stories. You can purchase issue 1 of Metaforce with CMX along the way. A lot of different benefits. And so, yeah, on Monday, the Galaxy Jumper lore stories will be coming out. And the only way you'll be able to get that is through the CMX process. So you'll need 2 CMX, and you'll be able to trade that for a copy of the lore stories. So, yeah, that's all right on the blends page on Metaforce. So that's a really fun way that we've been engaging with the community and working towards things. So with our community rewards, you get some CMX drops and can work your way up through that process. And yeah, just really excited about the Galaxy Jumper team. It's quite a crew. I'm not sure if you guys have seen those stickers, the promo stickers that came out, but I went to work when I began writing it. Alien Worlds came to us a while ago looking for us to work with us on a comic. We put out a lot of cool promos. So we have 3 promo Alien Worlds covers that came out in the fall and the winter. And those will actually be able to be blended to get onto the whitelist for the first Galaxy Jumper drop as well. So you'll see those under our promos. And but yeah, so the Galaxy Jumper, I went to work inside the framework of the established lore, that Alien Worlds already had. They don't have a lot of specific characters. It's more of their races, the Greys, the Nordics, the Reptiloids, things like that, and the planets. And so I really spent some time digesting what they put out there, and then created what I think is a really cool set of characters that come from their world. So the captain is a human that went through the portal to the exoplanets. Her name is Terra Galea. And maybe we might want to change her name now because she's Terra.
Right.
But,
yeah, right. Wow, the ship's landed. Anyway.
I don't know if am I able to screen share it all?
Yeah, throw it out. I'm more than happy to throw that out. So you can check out the NFT blends, Metaforce blends in the comments. I just dropped it in there.
I'll show you a few of these characters here.
I'm kind of excited because I really like the art that you guys put together.
Let's see, why am I getting myself spun around?
So while Mars does this, Corey, are we going to do another in-world happy hour this week?
Yeah, 8 p.m. tonight. I think we just need to pick a location. We were trying to vote on one. We ran out of time, so we'll do that for next week. I mean, it might just be easiest to do the tower, but unless anybody watching this has a better idea where we can meet, so we'll do a Twitter Spaces 8 p.m. tonight, Eastern Standard Time. And then we meet in World. We did it last week at the old cathedral, like right where everything started. It seemed like the first place that anyone built anything, first gratitude monument or whatever, was a really good place to have our first happy hour as a DAO. But yeah, we just basically need to apply the simple rule and get something picked so I can make an announcement on it.
Yeah, I like it. Let's do the tower. Screw it. I mean, everyone go to the Uplifters Tower, Huddle building, and we can just wander around and have some fun in there.
Yes. So we have, let's see, I guess my screen's not giving the full view here, but that's Captain Terra Galea. So one of the characters there. Let's see, we have Jarek Jagerson.
That's good. I like it. Nice.
I like him. His hologram weapons come out of his bracers there and just form. So he's a very cool character. We've got Vnax. He's the propulsion expert. And so yeah, in lore stories, we'll all get on Monday the long backstories for all these characters. We have the Reptiloid Daedrin. These two are some of the favorites. Azrini and Zanari. These two are some troublemakers.
They look like troublemakers.
Yeah. Any aliens with wrenches that cool are gonna be trouble.
Yeah. And this guy is one of my favorites. I don't know if you know the classic Robotron, who from Alien Worlds. This guy has a bit of a story. He's a real rebuilt Robotron who has his wires are fried a little bit, a la Johnny Five, if you remember him. And so he's taken to being peaceful. He's got his chakra lasers there across the front of him, if you noticed. So he's going to be a fun character. And then we have our big baddie, the Water Baron. So he's going to be the protagonist here in the beginning. And then we've got the cover of the upcoming Galaxy Jumper here.
So what's the timeline on these? Like, how often are you guys planning on releasing them and adding to the stories?
Let's see. We have the 2 books running. We're still kind of trying to nail down the production schedule because when we started, I would say that we severely underestimated the lift on a comic book, especially with Left House animating and then us also doing voiceovers for the higher rarities. So essentially each page has 5 to 6 NFTs on it, which is just a ridiculous amount of work. So we're shooting for hopefully every 2 months with the books. But it should, we don't have an exact date, but we're looking to get the actual Galaxy Jumper issue 1 out before NFT NYC. So that is very, very imminent. We're doing the voiceover work right now and all of that. But yeah, we're super excited about the characters and the stories. And yeah, if anyone's online later, we do have Metaforce stream from 3 to 4, and then Left House at 4 Eastern, I'm talking. And so I'm going to be doing some live reading sneak peeks from the lore stories. So I don't know if you guys have ever caught that shtick, but I do some story time with Uncle Mars, where I put on the reading robe and pull up next to the fireplace and read from my book here to the folks of the metaverse. So.
Yeah, I'm usually sleeping at that time.
Yeah,
or trying to, but yeah. If you have the links, drop them in private chat, and we'll share them out.
Yeah, I like to have a lot of fun with people, when I put out my writings. So I'll do some live story time. Not too many adults get enough story time in their life.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind writing articles for the Uplift when people submit them. But my favorite thing to do is like the one series that I do, which is like Roundabout Impressions, where I just wander around and like I find things that I like that speak to me, and I get to put a post up on that, right? Like one of the ones I did was actually that giant sword that you were talking about, and I didn't actually know who did it, and I was just like, I came across it and I was like, wow, this is nuts. Like I probably spent a half an hour on it, not even in world, just as a picture on my screen, trying to figure out like where I'd seen it before. And it led me back. Like at first I thought like maybe it was Excalibur, but then it led me back through all the old TV introductions like He-Man, Thundercats. I thought it was Thundercats for a minute because it's got that weird helm on it, right? And I was like, this is Thundercats, man. And I think if we go back to that article, there's actually the intro for Thundercats was in there. I get to put that up on our site. So it's fun, right? Like to get into that aspect where child's play becomes part of your adult life, and I think it's important to realize, right? Like we forget that, we need to spend more time. Like, I mean, if you've ever heard Corey, go wee when he jumps off the top of the the tower.
I was realizing, like, the second you said that, I started doing it in my head. I'm like, that would be fun to do. And then I was like, wait a minute, I actually do that almost every time. The nerd life is good. It's just,
That's some of the best part about, especially the writing aspect for me in the world I'm in, because obviously on surface level, it's total playtime. You get to invent characters and tell jokes, but I do also, if you want to think a little deeper, there's a lot of things going on under the surface that you can dig into that is a little less so I try to have a little bit for everybody. So yeah, it does look like purely fun, but yeah, just and having the audience here is really what I'm most appreciative about. Is just being able to do this stuff, walk in the woods, come home, write a crazy story, and there's actually people that care. So yeah. Yeah, really excited to get the Galaxy Jumper and Alien Worlds Adventure out to everybody.
Well, I mean, like, honestly, like, once it goes live, feel free to come back on here and do like Uncle Mars's, story time with the comic. Like, I'd love to have that, actually.
Yeah, if you guys, I'll roll it out. I'll get the fireplace out next to me. It'll be great. I have a whole shtick. It's a good time.
Great. So, yeah, definitely. You can find the links below for the Metaforce Comics Twitter and the website. And of course, if you go over to the website, then you click on the Discord links and all the other things that are connected there. So definitely go like and subscribe to those channels.
If I can add one very important thing, so we're finding out we got a lot of new people in the Metaforce community who don't know how or that they can read the actual books. So yeah, if you're holding a Metaforce issue 1 or a lore stories, or if you're going to grab this Galaxy Jumper lore stories, you're going to have to go to the Metaforce website, and under your assets, just log into comics, and you'll be able to read it and access our e-reader that you can flip through and everything right there. So yeah, on the marketplaces or things, they appear as just the cover, but don't be fooled. Go to our website and you can read the whole thing.
Very cool. Yeah, and like Corey said earlier, like, it's awesome that you guys are still here. I remember when we first had you on the show and the whole Metaforce thing, and it's just awesome to see a year later what you guys have accomplished.
Yeah. We need to update. Did you guys get pictures up for your gallery in your build? Because your build is amazing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. Recurrier is really the mastermind on that with a few other builders.
Okay.
So I'll have to check in with him on that. But
yeah, I'd love to see.
It's wild over there.
Yeah, I'd love to see, like treat it like a museum, gallery, like get some QR codes on the images so they actually go out to the assets that people can buy. Maybe even to promote the next drop that you guys do, because then we do an event, right? We get everybody in the Uplift community on that plot at one time, which like tons of energy, tons of pictures, tons of video, that kind of thing. And just leverage as much as we can, because it is really cool. Like, I'd love to see you guys get some use out of it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of work in there. We have all the altars, from the Metaforce team. The Pantheon is in there. The U.S. Mint, all sorts of really cool stuff.
Yeah, it's an amazing place, man.
Some wild underground connections all over the place.
It's true. Been through them. Got lost a bunch of times.
Yeah, no, same thing about you guys. It's I was thinking when I was coming on, it's been a really long time. About this time last year, I was talking to Raul, and seems like a lifetime ago. So
right.
Yeah,
I mean, NFT time is a good 10x normie time. So it's been a decade.
Yeah, so much to cover, and yeah, I'd love to come back and talk music sometime too. That was my initial foray into the metaverse, was writing the Upland Upix podcast theme song, rap song. So that's a pretty cool video that Left House made for that. So that's kind of how it all started. So
cool beans.
Dabbling in it all.
Awesome.
All right.
We'll be
today, Jimmy?
Yeah, we'll be back at 8 p.m. I guess Eastern Standard for a Twitter Spaces over on the Uplift Twitter channel. And in World at Uplifters Tower. We got a pretty busy week next week, actually, so I'm pretty excited about this. We've got Bitcoin Madame, who does some stuff with Underground, coming on the show next Monday for Monday Morning Chill. And we've also got Dan from Immersies on Monday. We're going to dive into what those guys are doing. We've got Evan from Boyd. They're doing some pretty cool things across multiple ecosystems. And we've got Kristen from realNFT.io. She's going to be joining us later in the day. On Tuesday, we've got a Nifty Blocks, Shop Talk with Nifty Blocks, who are our sponsor, so we're excited to dive into that. And we've got our fourth, I believe, AMA coming up. So if you guys have any questions about the Uplift, go into the Discord, drop them into the AMA channel. We'll be doing that at 10, following the Shop Talk with Nifty Blocks at 9 p.m. Sorry, a.m. Eastern Standard. We've got Eric Bennett, who's going to come on, and they're a project featuring amazing Argentinian artists, and they've got an NFT collection that we're going to dive into. And we've got Joey Langburner, and he's kind of a friend of the Shift, Adam Carswell. So we're excited to have him on as well. And I believe that's all coming up next week, and we're only on Wednesday. So definitely a lot going on. Some really cool projects, some really new communities that we're going to be introducing. Corey, do you want to maybe speak about what's happening with the ETH worlds?
So I set an insane goal, right? Like, we need to bootstrap Runway out of nothing, right? So that we can keep the uplift going. And this is like a non-trivial challenge, right? So we decided, okay, we're going to go multi-chain this year. That's going to be amazing. We're going to connect all the different blockchain tribes together and like create one place where literally everyone in Web3 can hang out. That's pretty fucking fun. Yippity-doo-dah, right? So first one we're going to go to is Ethereum, because there's more NFT sales volume on Ethereum than everywhere else combined by 5 times, right? So as a business decision, as many times as I've said is Ethereum is fucking lame, we're wrong. Like we have to go there and bring those communities over there. So I figured, okay, what's the best way to like 5x the number of people that are paying attention to the uplift, and bring a whole new group of people in that can come in and get really, really excited about picking up some land so we can bootstrap some revenue. And so I figured, okay, we're gonna get 100 different communities plugged in with a tiny little piece of land, because that's the only stuff we're ever going to give away. And the 2 maps that we're booting up are very, very small. Actually, Ethereum and Degen 1 are the 2 new maps that we have. And just for context, you could fit 25 of those maps just on Genesis, right? So it's a very small amount of land, and we're going to give tiny little bits of it away so that people can create embassies, museums, whatever, right? So these 100 projects are going to get a free piece of land if they come in and build something. So I figured, like, fuck it, let's go get 145 days. That's absurd. Like, that's hard to do. But we're gonna do it anyway, because do or die, right? And in the last 4 days, we have 10. It actually might be 12 now, from conversations that I've been having this morning. And the people that are coming in to join us in this, the communities that are joining us for this are kind of shockingly awesome. Right. We're going to be creating something for Skull Club. We got Unusual Guests, which is an NFT, art project on Ethereum that we just met a couple of days ago, and some projects, like that are kind of like us, right? Like scrappy and just getting started. And their communities are, in the tens of thousands or whatever, and they're super stoked. Where it gets really weird is the first one that is coming on board is the first ever NFT art project on Ethereum ever, right? Basically, the first art collection as an NFT on Earth ever, My Curio Cards, is coming in to build their museum. That's with Max Infeld. So I'm like, that's pretty good, right?
The first ever art project ever on Ethereum.
Honestly,
the first ever.
Right? It's a big deal. I'm really excited about that. If it's not clear. Yeah, whatever. It's it. Whatever. It's fucking nothing to see here, right?
Like forever and ever, they will always be the first art.
100%. It's on chain. You can't fuck that shit up. So that's amazing. The very next people to say yes, and they were excited enough that it shocked me. Right? Some very kind of upper crust, artsy people from Hong Kong started this NFT line called the Meta Art Club. They've got 35 high-end artists. And they, I did a little demo for them, and they were fucking over the moon. Like, they're just like, oh my God, how fast can we do this? Right. So they're coming in. They're on the front page of OpenSea right now. Right. And, so we've got, a couple more like that. NFT the movie is coming in to build a temple to their couple movies. And, they're going to have links out to all the projects that they're linked with. I'm having a conversation with them later on today. Talked to them yesterday. They're really fucking excited. And I'm talking to ApeSwap this afternoon, so it's going pretty well. Almost 10% done in 4 days, which means that we actually might hit goal, which just seriously is insane. So I'm a little excited about it because every time I set a goal that just looks like it's completely and totally impossible to do, and then we grind like lunatics on it, the universe just goes, yeah, I'll help out. It's clutch. And this is so Mars, like, as far as, Left House's nephew, right? Especially because that feels like a family connection to me. I already messaged Left House while we were talking about it. Would love to kind of explore that and see if we can get that stuff going. Anyone else that has friends that are in Ethereum projects who could introduce us to them, right? And like the metric is like we want those projects to have a community of like a decent size, but then also, having it set so that just have an idea that they would be good neighbors, right? Like would they actually fit in our community? Because that, I mean, obviously is clutch. We have this opportunity to really, bring people in that we're excited to have as neighbors. So yeah. So if you know anybody like that, have them get at me fast because I'm now pretty sure these things are going to go like fucking hotcakes and they'll be gone fast.
Or just plug them into this calendar, right? Because like we want to get them on the show. We want to hear about what they're doing. We've expanded the schedule throughout the week. And I mean, worst case scenario, they can't make it at those times will be bendable, but like it's all right there. And like I said, we only got to Wednesday and the show's filling up fast, which means that the plot's probably going to fill up fast. And, we're getting people in world. We're going to have them building, right? Like
I'm going to have to meet with people faster than we can do the show.
Right.
Right. So, if you are a project and you do book yourself on the show, at me anyway, because we're probably going to have to do it quicker. Because again, I need to be averaging 3 to 4 inductions a day to hit goal, which means I have a lot to catch up on already. Which is, I mean, it's a blessing, right? Like here we are in this really, really challenging moment. First time as a DAO, we have to bootstrap, some runway from nothing, right? Anybody looking on the outside, looking at this, like we're screwed. Except our community is fucking amazing, and every single time we go and show people what we've done, they get really, really excited about it. So we're actually going to pull this off in one of the deepest dives in crypto history.
Right.
Like that's a fucking story and a half,
right.
Which is maybe why I'm a little bit excited about
it. Yeah.
Because we're going to pull it off. We're going to do it. What's that, Mars?
So nothing going on is what you're saying?
Yeah, nothing to see here. It's just like, boop, boop, boop.
I love it.
Awesome.
Go check out Metaforce Comics. Hop on over to Green Rabbit. Check out 3D Game. I'm excited for when we get the live demo.
We'll set that up.
Thanks for joining us. Come back really soon. I want to go and run around Metaforce Land over the Metaforce Land over in Genesis as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see how this all plays out, right? Because you guys got the NFTs up there. When people from other blockchains start popping in and like running around there and seeing this art that's displayed, I'm excited because it's going to bring exposure to Wax, right? It's gonna connect all of these different blockchains, and that's, I think, the best thing that we can possibly do with this thing that we built is focus not on what chain we're on, focus not on the shit that's going on in the ecosystem that we can't control, but focus on supporting the people that are doing things that have like made the blockchain world their home, right? Get the word out there for awesome projects, no matter what they happen to be doing. So, thanks.
Yeah, and I can just throw one more thing on there. I forgot to mention, go check out the Metaforce Twitch. We're going pretty hard on Twitch streams. You can see all of that, but we do have a cool mechanic where if you watch the whole stream, you get awarded a stream ticket, which also can be used in the blends for the CMX. So you can really get off to the races. Your investment can just be watching our streams, and you can start your way up to blending CMX and buying comics and things like that.
Hey, Corey, we might need to steal that. That's a really genius idea, actually. That's really freaking smart.
Sorry, I was just typing to TC. Could you repeat that? I'm sorry, guys.
So if you tune into the Metaforce Twitch streams and you watch the entire stream, at the end you get a stream ticket you're awarded, which can be used in the Nifty blends to blend your way to CMX to get started in the ecosystem for free. You can buy comics and things with it. So
how do you do that? What's the mechanic there?
I don't deal with all that, thankfully. But
Great.
yeah,
All right.
well, you link your Twitch to our Discord, I believe, or something like that, and we know who's in attendance, and then you get issued your stream tickets, and then those can be used in the Nifty blend to create CMX. So there's a lot of cool stuff that we
bet
have
you, like,
going on
YouTube
there.
Studio probably has something like that. Hey, like if we got to the point where we I don't know, we might have to get like bigger before we get access to all those crazy tools or something like that.
Well, I have a couple ideas that aren't quite the same, but it would tie
Even
in
what's the
stuff.
lo-fi version of that? Because I'd love to do that, right? Like I'd love to have it set up so that, you know, and it's just like a work thing for us, right? Because we got to stay super focused. But if we could magic it so that, you know, everybody who, you know, watch us had their YouTube link to their wax, and we could just press a button and give everybody a shard for hanging out, we would do it instantaneously, right? It's just like we can't afford the time right now to grind it out there, but that'd be really cool to.
I mean, and then maybe we just say, like, for a special blend, you hold one of their stream tickets in your wallet, and you get to interact with all of our friends that are doing the same thing, right? Like, there's some really cool things to play around with.
Possibilities.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to have friends like you, Mars. It's great. Go feed the deer. That's the little one on your lap. Congratulations on all that's great in your life. You know, with the family and everything. And just keep doing what you're doing. Keep kicking ass, man.
100%. I will say this, just for the hell of it. DM me on Twitter, everybody, or at me on Twitter with a post sharing this video out. And I'll give the first like 10 a shard because there's 10 people watching. So, you know, I'll hook that up just because freaking love you guys. And
it's been great being here with you guys. It's been too long, so we'll have to keep in touch for sure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Mars. Yeah, come back a lot sooner. And for real, let's do an event before you guys do that drop. Let's do an event on your land and like get some pictures up and make it a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. I'll talk to Recurrier and the masterminds on that end.
I mean, we could even do like one of our Twitter spaces there, right? Everyone go and meet in Metaforce Comic Land, like get to know them, and then Mars, you could do one of your stories right there on Twitter stream spaces, right, for everyone to hear while they're running around in Metaforce. You know,
yeah, it'd be perfect. Be awesome. So many ideas. But yeah, and just before we go quick, I do have to shout out the team. We have got mods working their butts off, really getting the community engaged, and just an awesome team over there all the way around. So yeah, thanks to everybody.
All right. See you guys later. Stay uplifted.